Good evening. Welcome to the another lecture of Applied Analytics, a practitioner's approach on descriptive, prescriptive and predictive analytics. And today we are getting into the new concepts, new aspects of descriptive stats and other related tools, because so far we have seen the philosophy and other aspects of the analytics, and now we are going to see how we learn some tools and how we apply them to a set of data. So, today we will start looking into the importance of the concepts of statistics and analytics, and we will see what statistics for us means. So, this we are going to look at from a practitioner's viewpoint, okay. Sorry, I can't spell properly, so you guys have to find the right spelling. So, let's take a look into it, statistics. Okay, the title itself is kind of funny, statistics really, because everybody thinks that statistics is something that they know about what it is, and many of the people who are involved in analytics, so the so-called analytics expert, okay, their definition of statistics is a branch of science or maths that deals with collecting, organizing, presenting, analyzing and interpreting data. So, it involves data collection, okay. So, that is one of the reasons why sometimes you talk about data collection, which sometimes gives the concepts of sampling, okay. Then you have organizing, okay, and where we are talking about grouping, binning, classification, etc. Okay. So, that aspects. So, we will study some of those tools. Then presenting, okay, we are talking about graphical presentations, okay. Then we are talking about descriptive stats, okay, that aspects. Then analyzing, so we talked about analysis. So, analysis will be like hypothesis testing, okay, correlation, stuff like that, ANOVA, they all come in this. Okay. Interpreting is the how do we interpret the results, the findings. Okay. So, this is the classical viewpoint of what is statistics, but for a practitioner, okay, we can think about statistics it as a let us think about as nothing more than the use of arithmetic tools to examine numeric data that has been collected so that decisions can be made. So, the practitioner's viewpoint or the practitioner's approach focuses on the decisions, and it is more about, for them or the practitioners, it is more about a set of arithmetic tools or the usage of arithmetic tools to examine the numeric data that has been collected. So, here, okay, you will ask obviously then what happened to the other data, alphanumeric data. That is a different part which is not too much of importance to us, but here the importance is mostly on the numeric data, because the data collection has been done. So, this numeric data, who collected the numerical data, mostly it comes from the business intelligence or what we call as the BI. As such, it is basically involves collecting, organizing and storing the data. And these tools, these arithmetic tools, you can think about these tools to be divided into two forms. Okay? And what we are going to say is that the tools can be thought about in two fashion. The first one is that's what we call as the descriptive tools. Descriptive tools. And the second one we can call it as the inferential tools. Inferential tools. So, the descriptive tools, what does the descriptive tools mean? These tools, they help in understanding the data, by providing, they help in understanding the data by providing the ability to organize, organize and summarize it. Summarize what? Summarize the data. So, the aim here in the descriptive tools is they help us to understand the data by providing us the ability to organize and summarize. So, here the aim is to more to organize and summarize the data, whereas in the inferential tools, it is they help in making decisions or they help in making inferences based on data. So, here you are thinking about making inferences based on the data, that is what is going on in this part. Okay. So, inferences means some conclusions. You are concluding based on what you are thinking about at this point. Okay. Now, the analytics in a way, so you can think about analytics as based on statistics. Okay. So, since it is based on statistics, what we are trying to do here is we can think about it as a 6-step processes, because for practitioners we like to have a stepwise approach. Okay. So, since it is a 6-step processes, so we can talk about as the step 1 being identifying or identify, let us call it as a verb, identify the decision making problem. Okay. So, this implies understanding the problem, that is being investigated, and this is important, and why is it being investigated. So, at this juncture what we are supposed to do is we have to identify the decision making problem, identify why it is a problem and why is it being investigated. Okay. So, that is the aspect in this, and to facilitate this, which means this understanding or identification, either one of them, we can think about asking few set of questions. Okay. Ask the following. These questions will help in understanding, making us understand why this is a problem and why is it to be investigated. First question is, how is this a problem? Okay. Second question is, why investigating this problem is important? Is important not to you, important to the organization. Okay, because we are thinking from a applied standpoint. Then the third question is, what is or are the causes or the causes of this problem? Okay, what is the reason behind the problem? Next question you can think about it is, what could be some possible solutions? Okay. So all these questions, okay, all of these in a broad sense, okay, you're not looking for exact answers, but you're looking for a broader answers, help to develop the what we call as the most important thing, problem statement. Okay. So all these questions, so the Japanese philosophy in this case is they talk about 5W 1H. Okay. That is one approach the Japanese do. What, where, when, who, why. Okay. These are the 5 W's. Okay. And then the next one is how. And the Japanese philosophy says that if you follow this approach, this 5W 1H approach, you would be able to reasonably define what's a problem statement. What we are saying here is similar one, but somewhat broader questions, not really in the particular pinpointed questions, but these questions to a large extent help us to broadly develop the problem statement. Okay. And why do we need the problem statement? Because this step identifies clearly, or it should identify clearly, or it should identify, okay, clearly what is going to be investigated. Okay, what are we going to study, investigated? This is to be clearly stated. Why? So that proper decision can be made. So if the problem statement is not clear, then the decision will also not be clear. So this is where the phrase, that the most famous phrase called GIGO comes into picture, which means garbage in, garbage out. So if you have a clear problem statement, if you have been able to identify the problem properly, then because of that, proper decision can also be made. So the first step's aim is to identify the decision making problem. So understand what the problem is being investigated and why is it being investigated. Okay. And then there are a set of questions that will help us to develop the problem statement, and from there, once you have the problem statement clearly defined, then proper decisions can be made. Now we get to the second steps, step 2 and step 3. Okay. So the step 2 is to a large extent is state the hypothesis, or what we can call it as, what does it means is, hypothesis is nothing but the belief of the analyst on what will be found. will be found at the end of analysis okay, it is your belief okay, what will be found at the end of analysis or what will happen if the problem is investigated. So, the aim is here is that you are stating your belief, the analyst's belief on what will be found at the end of analysis. So, it is kind of saying that okay, we start doing the analysis, this is what I believe or this is what we think it will happen if this investigation is conducted. Why it is important? Because stating the hypothesis is the first important step in understanding how to investigate the problem. Okay. So, the how to investigate the problem is given by the by clearly stating the hypothesis. So, let us take an example, okay, an example of a tire manufacturing company, okay, tire manufacturer. Okay. Assume that this company is manufacturing tires for cars, okay, not automobiles, cars. So, a car require 4 tires plus 1 stepney or 1 backup. Okay. This company manufactures these tires and the aim is that this company is trying to say that the tire by this, let us call this as company A, okay, company A. The tire by this company A, tire by this A company is better than other tires in the market. If this is the claim made by the company, okay, and if it is a problem, that is what something that need to be investigated. So, then what is the hypothesis at this point or how do we state the hypothesis at this point? The hypothesis you can loosely state that okay, so if this is what you want to prove or this is what you want to investigate, that whether the tire is better than the existing tires in the market, if not then what will happen? The answer is that the tire is as bad as other tires that are available in the market. So, you can say that the new tire is better than others. Okay, that is one option. The other way to think about it is, if not, the new tire is only as good as others in the market. This is one way to look into it. So, here you are basically trying to prove that the tire is as good as or better. Okay. If you say that if the new tire is bad than the other tires in the market, then the investigation that you are going to look for is the other way. So, this is the same way the judiciary system makes the premises that person is innocent. This is the presumption or the assumption or the belief. Okay. And if the person is not innocent, if not, then guilty. Okay. So, this kind of an approach, this kind of a statement, okay, in a pairwise belief, you have a belief and if that belief is not happening, then what is going to be the next one? That is what we call as a hypothesis, or stating this in some mathematical form or a verbal form, it does not matter. That is what your hypothesis is. So, then all your analysis in the second case is to what the police will do, they will only try to find evidences to prove guilt. Okay. So, the same thing, if we do this, then we only look for evidences in this case to prove superiority of tire. So, the analysis, how will you do the analysis, is determined by how you state your hypothesis. Then step 3. Step 3 is, simply put, identify the cause. Okay. So, what does this mean here is that, so in better words, it is when the analyst states the hypothesis, then what happens? It results or forces them to identify what they believe as the cause of it, as the cause of it. Okay. Or in a better way, what we are thinking about it is, what has forced it to occur. Okay. So, when we think about the tire manufacturer, when they say that the tire is better, the question is, what makes it better? Maybe the answer is new process or new material, something like this. So, this is where you are identifying the cause. Why? What has resulted in the occurrence of the problem? Typically in statistics terms, this cause, this identified cause is usually known as the independent variable. Okay. We call it as the independent variable. So, the cause, the one that resulted in this particular behavior or belief, is what we call as the independent variable. Because of it, the phenomenon is being observed. Okay. Most of the time, independent variable will have two or more levels. This is a tricky one because what happens is, in this case, if you think about it, the sulfur content, let us call it as the sulfur content, is the reason for the tire quality, is responsible for tire quality. If that is the case, then you can possibly say that the sulfur content can be 5%, 10%, 15%, something like this, and one of the setting will, along with some other values, will give you the good quality tire. So, it is same content of the what percentage of sulfur is content in the rubber is the one that actually determines the tire quality, if you can think about it that way. So, the sulfur content is the independent variable, and these 5, 10, 15% are what we call as the levels of the independent variable. Hope you guys understand this. And then we will now move to step 4 and 5. Okay. So, the step 4 is ideally identify what is to be used to measure the effect of the independent variable. independent variable. Okay. So, here you have to decide what is to be used, what is the phenomena that you are going to use to measure the effect of the independent variable, okay. And why is it cos? So, this thing that is used to measure the effect, this is called as the dependent variable, okay. And data is usually collected on the dependent variable, and descriptive statistics is used to understand the effects of independent variable, if any. If there is any effect of the independent variable on the dependent variable, then we use descriptive statistics to understand that. So, in the previous case we considered sulfur content as a factor for the tire performance. Okay. Now, the question is, how do you measure the tire performance? And one way to do it is mileage of the tire. So, one way to do it is you manufacture maybe 5 tires or something. So, tire 1, tire 2, tire 3, tire 4, tire 5, you manufacture 5 tires and you put them on different vehicles and run them, and the first tires give you 50,000 kilometers, second will give you 47,000 kilometers, third is 63,000 kilometers, fourth is 58,000 kilometers, fifth is 32,000 kilometers, something like this. So, these value, the mileage that you measure, okay, and which you attribute it to the performance of the tire, and you can say in that sulfur content influences the tire performance, which in turn influences the mileage. So, the mileage becomes the dependent variable through which we measure the impact of sulfur content. So, here you use descriptive statistics. In a sense, what we are trying to do is, okay, we are basically trying to calculate what is the mean or average, okay, what is the standard deviation, okay, what is the median, then many other statistics, range, etc. we calculate of this. From there, using that, we try to find out whether the tire is better. So, if you say that the rest of the tires in the market, competitors are providing tires with, let us say, 35,000 kilometer mileage, that is the case, and then if you find this average, let us say it comes to, let us say 47,000 kilometers, then you could possibly say that, okay, reasonably looks like this tire is, the new tire is better than the other tire, and this new tire is better merely because of the fact that the sulfur content is the one that is influencing the superior tire performance. Okay. And also you should note that, or you should remember that there can be more than one dependent variable. Okay. So, one another example of this is identify how many punctures happen, how many punctures of tire wall. Okay. This could be another dependent variable that you can see to measure the performance of the tire. So, you can always, there is no need that there is only one dependent variable, there can be more than one dependent variable. This is quite applicable and allowed. Okay. Then we talk about the step 5, the fifth step, okay, which is identify the correct statistical test, identify the correct statistical test that is obtained or identified from the information provided by the independent variable dependent variable and descriptive stats. Okay. So, one example of this would be you have made tires, 5 tires with 5% content, then let us say 10% content, 5 tires. So, you have like, so these are the 5 tires, and you put the mileage one, let us say 32,000, 39,000, 40,000, 33,000, something like this. Okay. So, you do your data on that, let us say 34,000. These are the 5 data values you get, and in 10% you got 36,000, 43,000, 41,000, 39,000, 48,000, something like this. And then you can make tires, 5 tires made out of 15% like this. Okay. And then get the data values, and then using these data values you can find what is the average of this row, average of this row, etc., standard deviations, etc., and then you can decide whether you want to do an analysis of variance or paired t-test. So, the data, that data will tell you which is probably a better test for you to use to identify what percentage of the sulfur content gives you the best tire performance. Okay. So, the statistical test that is to be used to identify, to make the decision of what sulfur content to use to get the best tire performance should be done with the help of information that is provided by the independent variable. This is the independent variable. Okay. This is the independent variable, and this is the mileage. Okay. This is your dependent variable, and here is your descriptive statistics. Okay. So, these 3 put together tells you what test to do and how to get the how to identify the correct statistical test to make the correct decision. Okay. And the last step, step 6. Okay. It is not steps, it is step 6. Okay. Then once this is done, use appropriate data analysis software or package, whatever you want to call it, okay, for conducting the analysis. Okay. Most of the time when you have in business, in practitioner's world, okay, data comes from BI, business intelligence department. So, usually voluminous, I believe. Okay, check the spelling. If the data is voluminous, then you require software. You're probably doing manually might not help, and it might also take too much of time. So there are many options, many such software. Okay, starting with Microsoft Excel. Okay, then you have SPSS, now made by IBM. Then you have SAS, that is the SAS Institute, or the open source alternative of SAS, Lotus, spreadsheets, etc. Okay, These are multiple options of the software that is available. Okay. In this course, okay, we use Excel and R. Okay. There will be a tutorial of R in this course, and you will learn what is R and how to use R for that. And for simple cases, we will also use Excel in this regard. Okay. With this, we reach the conclusion of the process of how do we do analysis and how do we the stepwise process of conducting analytics. And now from here after, we will be starting to get into different tools of descriptive stats and graphical display tools, because descriptive stats is one important parameter as we see. Identifying the independent variable, dependent variable, and looking at the descriptive stats helps us to understand what is the right statistical test that is to be used for the making the decision or doing the analysis. Okay. So thank you for your patient hearing today, and we will continue the rest of the lecture, rest of this course using the new topics in the coming classes. Thank you.